honest to God, what is Disney doing? What are they doing? They are so high on their own supply. It is insane. What do they think the market for this is? Who are the parents who are like, I'm desperate to bring my child to a movie that is not about...
Massive. Like, the numbers speak for themselves. Seems like, is there a reason why Disney keeps rebooting every single one of their old cherished franchises, all of their animated classics into live action films? Yes, the money, lots and lots of money.
Alrighty, so I don't know why Disney keeps deploying Rachel Zegler to say things about Snow White that are likely to alienate pretty much anybody who would ever want to watch this movie. So they're making a live version of Snow White, the live action version of Snow White, which is really stupid since the original is, of course, a film classic. Rachel Zegler.
So wait, never remake a movie ever? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's way too many reboots, remakes, fucking nonstop Marvel movies, Disney movies. Yeah, too much saturation. But that's a very strange fucking, it's an odd rule, if you will, because there are some remakes that are superior to the originals. I present to you The Thing. Yes, The Thing. The second one. The second one, I think, is the superior one. Not the third one. The third one is Kakapupu. But the second one, fucking classic. Fucking classic.
Who is playing Snow Diversity because we can't do Snow White anymore because obviously that'd be racist. Right? Tiana must remain a black princess forever, but Snow White cannot be a white princess, even if her literal name is Snow White, because she has skin as white as snow. That is literally the line in the movie. I mean, I'm sorry.
This is certainly the hill to die on, eh? You know this was get a lot of right-wingers upset.
I didn't make it up. That's just what the fairy tale is. It's not called, any other color. It's called snow.
The important part is the first part that you said, fairy tale, as in not real. Imaginary. It can be anything, Snow White could actually be a dragon. You could watch an entire film where Snow White is a dragon. It could be fun. Who knows?
Snow White. That's literally what it's called. In any case.
Wait, Snow White had to be pure and Aryan at all costs?
Rachel Zegler also feels the necessity, apparently.
Hey, Vitingale, thank you for the rating party of 15. Welcome in, Raiders. Can everyone go to twitch.tv/Vitingale? Give Vitingale a follow back.
Crap on the myth and crap on the original movie. So over the weekend, here she was explaining that the prince in Snow White is actually the bad guy.
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful.
It is so wonderful. Love is super bad, guys. It's super bad. And the prince is a creepy stalker. Did you know that? You probably didn't, because if you watch the movie, you'll remember Snow White literally standing above a well and singing a song where she says that she wishes for the one I love to find me today. That's literally the lyric. You may remember it from the original movie. But apparently the prince then responding to that by finishing her song, which is what happens, that means he's a creepy stalker. Now, that's that.
Let's see what they're all upset about. I mean, fair enough. It's been a while since I've been in the game, but I just mean, if someone was like, hey, Lance, did you hear? Hear what? Oh, this is really beautiful maiden. She's hot as fuck. Oh, yeah? Yeah, she's been unconscious for a long time. Sorry, what? Yeah, unconscious for a long time. But they got her, sealed up in a glass box. Yeah. Do you want to go pursue it? Does that sound sexy to you? The unconscious woman who's been encased in glass. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Glass coffin. Yeah, so yeah. So you're saying there's a chance? I do believe, fair maiden, I've traveled far and wide to arrive here at your side, to be able to provide you with love's first kiss while you're unconscious in the coffin. And again, this is okay, so we've got our new culture war because they were already mad at this remake on the fact that the actress who plays Snow White isn't purely white to their liking, isn't Aryan enough to their specifications. And that one was the first thing they were mad about. But now, apparently, not only here, but there's a number of Disney changes that are being made to their official stories surrounding Snow White, and perhaps what some have decreed as a slight sexual assault when the prince walks over to someone and doesn't consent before making out with them. But then the justification, I guess, coming from the other side is that, like, well, but it woke her up. See, this was sexual assault with a purpose, and the results speak for themselves. And I mean, when it gets down to it, this is something where I don't care if Disney changes every single property they've ever had forever in perpetuity, because A, they're going to, and B, a lot of these are movies I'll never watch. I don't watch the live Disney remakes. I have no interest in this fucking corporate crash grab, because yeah, they're garbage. The problems I have with them, though, are never the same problems the right has with them. Like, the right is just always like, well, minority, Black Mermaid. Fine, we lost the Black Mermaid, but at least Snow White will be, what? Not white. Not white enough. They changed the kiss. And again, it's probably one of those things, like, so I don't know if you all know, but like Disney has made alterations to some of their old things. Like, for example, they don't even fucking claim that they made Songs of the South anymore. It's like, let alone trying to find an old copy of it. It's just like, no, that never happened. And then you're like, well, but it did, because come on, zippity doo dah, zippity day. That's a song that everyone still remembers. People still sing it. What's it from? Oh, don't ask. And in this case, it's like, they changed Peter Pan as well. They cut out some of the more racist scenes. If you haven't seen them, they're exceptionally racist, by the way. Holy shit, are they racist towards indigenous people. They've also added, if you want the original uncut racist version of Peter Pan, you can watch it, but there's a disclaimer that plays first, but that's not enough. Even that is too much of a cancellation. If a disclaimer pops up saying the following program is dated and was made on this age, and at this point we firmly agree that this is obviously a racist film towards indigenous peoples, and we strongly oppose the characters that are found in this film. We agree that they're racist stereotypes, that kind of thing. Whereas, like, if you were sitting down with your kids, you could have a conversation about that thing, and it's like, hey, times have changed. There's parts of this film that I'm sure I'll probably always have nostalgia from. The songs especially, they're very enchanting, right? It's hard not to. And see, the consent starts here, right there. That was the moment of consent.
You know what would have been better, honestly? It would have been better if he just left her to be dead. That'd been better. I mean, she was there. She's on the buyer, right? I mean, she's lying there.
Oh, I was right. So it's with a purpose. It's like, hey, some people are saying this is kind of sexual assault, but with a purpose.
Glass over her. She's pretty well preserved. He should have just left her alone. They should have been dead, and everyone would have been happy, right? I mean, not so happy because she would have been dead, but still, he's a creepy rape stalker. And so it would have been better if she had bitten into the apple and died.
No one said that. You're going pretty extreme now, You could just say that it's an inappropriate move. That one should not do it without consent of another party.
And then she never would have gotten kissed, and then she'd be dead. You know who else would be dead? Also Sleeping Beauty. She'd still be dead. In fact, there's like a bunch of princesses who would still be dead.
Assault with a purpose.
If we just, abided by Me Too. Because it turns out that even when a woman is in love with a man, and even when they want to be together, the worst thing that could possibly happen is for him to.
How do you make things that are creepy creepier so well? It's a fucking gift. It's like, yeah, this is, I guess, an interesting discussion to have in the modern age. I mean, obviously, a lot of material from our past is very dated. Obviously, it usually contains a lot of very racist stereotypes, and a lot of Disney films have very racist stereotypes. The crows in Dumbo, for example, the indigenous people in Peter Pan, and they've come forward and admitted that, yes, we agree, this is very dated material, and while it is part of our canon, we still have to acknowledge that we understand why this is considered insensitive or demeaning or dehumanizing. It's probably not a bad thing for them to do that. And then along comes fucking Ben Shapiro, failed screenwriter, to be like, well, I mean, fuck, if you're doing this, can you not save a life? What if it was rape to save a life? Would you let someone die? Even if that was like the cost? Sexual assault to save a life.
To kiss her while she is dead. To wake her up from being dead. That's the worst thing you could do in a myth. I mean, obviously, the best thing, probably the prince should have come along, he should have buried her. I mean, that would have been the best thing, is to bury her alive, quasi. That would have been the best thing. But at least this isn't going to be about love.
But, like, For starters, without even knowing the changes they've made, you know there's other alternatives to this. For example, if Snow White says before she eats the apple something along the lines, "Oh, dearest prince, should I ever fall myself into a poisonous trance by which I would but ask you to place a kiss upon my lips, were it be that such a kiss would resurrect me?" And then boom, right there. That's all you need to add in, and then boom, you've given consent, and then the act of the kiss is no longer unconsensual. Very, very minute, small, miniature change. You still get the exact same story, like almost identical. Just add that little fucking piece of dialogue. Simple as, yeah.
I mean, honest to God, what is Disney doing? What are they doing? They are so high on their own supply. It is insane. What do they think the market for this is? Who are the parents who are like, I'm desperate to bring my child to a movie that is not about
Massive. Like the numbers speak for themselves. Seems like, is there a reason why Disney keeps rebooting every single one of their old cherished franchises, all of their animated classics into live action films? Yes, the money, lots and lots of money. This is the reason. Fucking yeah, they're.
Snow White, but is in fact about a self-empowered woman that's like Atomic Blonde, but for children. Let's do that. It's geniuses. I don't know about you, but the summer heat in South Florida, well, it is.
It's an ad, obviously, but like, I'm just curious. What are you selling using like the outrageous heat waves going on right now to pitch?
It is hot down here. One thing you shouldn't have to be sweating this hot summer: the price of meat. Well, thanks to Good Ranchers, you don't have to, because your price can be.
Whoa! Discount meat. Get your meat. Okay, so he talked for I say less than 5 minutes.
Services. You extend that over the course of the year, you're talking $8,400 that you're spending more this year than you were.
Oh, he's still talking about meat. Okay, so he's talked about meat more than he has about Snow White.
On America's credit rating. According to Spencer Jacob, writing for the Wall Street Journal, investors have historically paid a steep penalty to hunker down in super safe short-term government securities.
Oh, so we're no longer talking about Snow White, unless the script really changed.
Prices, anything short-term and safe, paid next to nothing. But the
that was the extent of it. Holy shit, it was literally just like 2 minutes of him being like, yeah, I mean, maybe Snow White should just die. Maybe that's like, is that it? Wokies? Is that woke enough for you? If we just have Snow White get like fucking buried, have we wokeified the story?
Federal Reserve's fight against inflation has amplified the risk of an unthinkable fiscal crisis made possible by decades of Washington dysfunction. So that means that people are actually spending a bunch of money to get into short-term government securities, which pays you almost nothing. That's how freaked out people are. Cash might be king. Although they were called certificates of confiscation in the inflationary 1970s, longer-term treasuries have been the go-to asset in times of crisis. The 10 years note yield is literally the risk-free.
So boring.
Actually, that forecast is probably too optimistic. The swelling pile of debt means minor changes in assumptions that now have huge consequences. About 3/4 of treasuries must be rolled over within.
I don't even know what he was actually talking about before the subject changed, because they always do that thing where it's like, hey, by the way, we're going to talk about something completely different now. The guy at the bus stop, yeah, that if you're lucky, and we should all be so lucky.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback, because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hegbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Dimmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.